welcome to another episode of Allison's Eats. Today I'm going to be sharing one of my favorite recipes. It's one of my newer recipes I've been making, and I first made it about a month ago after I visited a local farm and got some fresh goat cheese. Seriously, my favorite cheese in the whole entire world. And I thought it'd be fun to make a goat cheese linguine, and I pulled some vegetables and it was just magical. So I want to share this recipe with you so you can add a little gourmet flair to your pasta night at home. And I'm also going to be making a salad to pair with it. And on the salad, it's going to be a little extra special because I'm going to make homemade croutons. So I'm not necessarily making them all the way from scratch, but I bought a fresh baguette today and I'm gonna pull it apart to make some yummy croutons to top the salad with, and I'm gonna take you through it all. So first and foremost, let's put our hair up, put our apron on, and then get cooking. Okay, we are all set with our apron, our hair up, and a nice cold glass of kombucha. If you've been watching my vlogs recently, you know that my cooking experience would not be complete without this. It just makes the whole experience more elevated. So I highly recommend pouring yourself a glass if you're cooking alongside me. So as always, all the ingredients that I'm using in this recipe will be listed down in the description along with directions. But the first step is to wash and chop all of our produce. And there really isn't a ton for this recipe. We'll just need to wash our lettuce, our tomatoes, and then we're gonna chop up our onions, garlic, and slice open a nice fresh lemon. Once you chop your onion, you can start adding them to a skillet with some olive oil or an oil of your choice. Okay, now I'm going to place my pan of onions on the stove over medium-high heat, and we're gonna let those start to saute and yellow a bit while we cut our garlic, and then we'll add those in with the onions and let them saute a little bit more, and then we'll add our tomatoes and spices. So like I mentioned, for this recipe, we're gonna slice the garlic so they're a bit bigger pieces than just dicing it, and I'll show you how I do that. You may want to do this with a smaller knife if you feel more comfortable, but it's really up to you. Just be careful. Hopefully my fingers won't be in the way too much, but basically I'm just gonna put it like this, and it helps if you use bigger cloves of garlic. So that's a little tip, but I'm just going to thinly slice it along the lines, which garlic has subtle little lines that you can follow, but you really just eyeball it, and of course it doesn't have to be exact, but you'll get these nice thin slices of garlic. Now that our onions are starting to look a bit translucent, I am going to add in my garlic. So while our aromatics are sauteing, I am just going to cook my linguine. So I'm gonna get some water boiling, and you can just follow the directions on whatever brand of linguine you purchase, but super simple, and that'll help save some time while we saute. We are also cooking our pasta. Now our aromatics are looking nice and tender and smelling so delicious, so I'm going to add in my cherry tomatoes and some spices. So I'm just going to add in some onion powder. Onion and garlic powder are kind of my holy grail. I pretty much put them in everything. They just add so much flavor and really just enhance the aromatics that are already there. And then I'm also going to add some red pepper flakes. Again, I say this in every cook with me, but be cautious if you might not want to follow exactly the amount of red pepper flakes that I put, because I just love spicy food so much. So I always am very generous with my red pepper flakes and cayenne pepper and so on. And I'm also going to add in some black pepper. And we'll just mix it all together. And just keep an eye on these. We're gonna go get started on the salad now, but while these are on the heat, you just wanna make sure nothing gets burnt. So I check it every couple minutes and kind of stir it around so everything is getting even heat coverage. You gotta fuel up, stay hydrated. Okay, so I just preheated my oven to 350 and we are gonna prep the croutons. So I have this fabulous baguette from Trader Joe's and I am just going to cut it into thirds, and I'm just going to use a third of it for the croutons tonight, and I'm also going to cut a few slices just to serve on the side. We're just having a carb party tonight with the pasta, the bread. I love carbs, this is not a gluten-free meal, but it's delicious. Okay, and then for the croutons, what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to tear the bread. You can cut it into little diced pieces if you want it to be a little more put together, but I kind of like just a pulled apart crouton look because that's how you really know if you're cooking for someone else. It'll be easy for them to tell that you made these croutons by yourself, and I think it just makes it a little more unique and special. Taking a quick crouton break because my water is boiling, so I'm gonna add the pasta real quick. I usually break it in half, but it's totally up to you. And mine says to cook for 10 minutes if I want it al dente, so I'm gonna cook it for probably around 13, but again, I'll keep an eye on it. And our aromatics are looking good. I actually turned off the heat, and I'm gonna put it on simmer when I'm getting a little closer to serving dinner, just so that it's nice and warm. But the tomatoes are blistered and looking good, so I don't wanna overdo it and burn them. Okay, back to the croutons. So I lined a baking sheet with parchment paper, and what we're gonna do now is we're going to spray olive oil or pour olive oil on our bread, and then I'm gonna add in some garlic powder, some ground pepper, some oregano, and some sea salt. I had that over by the pasta because I added some to my boiling water. But yeah, that's all it is to it, and then we'll just kind of toss it around so all the bread gets covered, and then we'll place them on our baking sheet. These croutons are looking so scrumptious, and I just had an idea. So Brandon's about to be my sous chef and grate some fresh Parmesan for me, and I was thinking, how delicious would Parmesan croutons be? So delicious. So I'm going to sprinkle some Parmesan once it's grated on my croutons, and then we'll spread it on the baking sheet and pop them in the oven. Fabulous cheese cutting husband. Oh, hey babe, don't cut the cheese. Actually, but I really want you to cut the cheese tonight. Why is that so funny? Okay, so I'm going to take some. These are kind of big pieces of Parmesan, but hey, you gotta work with what you got. And then I will toss that and we'll place it on our baking sheet. Bake the croutons until they're golden, which will take around 15 minutes, but I'm gonna check on them at 10 minutes to make sure they're doing okay. Okay, so once I drained my linguine, I actually add some butter because this pasta doesn't really have a sauce. It's just some oil and butter and veggies. So I'm just gonna plop that in there, and since it's just freshly boiled and cooked, it'll melt right away because the pasta's nice and hot. So that's about 2 tablespoons of butter, a little less, but you can use as much butter that fits your fancy. And now I'm also gonna pour in my veggies and mix it all up so it's all combined. So you get a piece of onion and garlic and tomato and pasta all in one bite, hopefully. Okay, I left some room on the plate for the salad and our croutons, but I'm going to top the pasta with what really takes it to the next level, the goat cheese, the most delicious, decadent goat cheese. I cannot stress enough how much I love goat cheese. So I'm pretty generous with my goat cheese portions, and I just kind of place it all around, and then as I eat it, I kind of just mix it all in, and since the pasta is still warm, it kind of melts a bit, and it's just so heavenly. And then the other key ingredient to top it off with is some fresh basil. So I got this beautiful basil plant today at Trader Joe's. So I'm just gonna pull a few leaves off and add that to the top. Okay, it's time to pull out our croutons. Oh, stunning. Look how golden they look. And then it's got that Parmesan on top. So lovely. So we're just gonna let these cool down for a couple minutes, and then we can toss them on the salad. So tonight I am going to make a homemade dressing. So I'm going to take some olive oil, fresh lemon juice, and then my favorite spices that I've been using for the whole recipe. So we have our oregeno, sea salt, ground pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. And I don't use exact measurements, which I know isn't so helpful, but it's gonna vary by your preference anyways, because you might like more dressing, you might like less dressing. I hear somebody sneaking a crouton over there. You got caught in the act. Did you like it?
Yes.
The time has come after all that hard work. It was really fun, but you know, cooking is a little thrill when you're running around doing a lot of different things. It is time to enjoy the meal. Gotta get a nice piece of goat cheese and tomato. Fabulous. Excuse me while I talk with my mouth full. Such a yummy and simple and quick and easy meal, but it definitely feels so elevated and like you could get it at a restaurant, but it's so satisfying knowing that you made this on your own. And I really hope this video inspires you and equips you to make sort of healthy. I mean, it's kind of healthy, and the croutons are so fun to add to a little salad. I definitely want to start making those more often, but thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this Allison's Eats video, and I'll see you super soon. Bye.